Hey guys, this is Rep Rep to Rev. This is Norm speaking. Got some exciting news. Kind of late on the button. More about Mercedes Benz. They're actually coming out with a full electric lineup. With that being said, I'll show you them. Let me get no, not there. So these ones up top are not electric, not electric. The CLS E class. It's the ones that have the E attached to the letter. So EQ, EQA, EQB, EQC in the EQS. So sedan series. We have more of the wagon series. So this EQC is like the Volvo like X60, that kind of stretch. Not as much trunk space as you can see right there. It's like a hatchback style. The EQB, a lot of you probably kind of look at that. It's almost like a Jeep Compass. Actually, almost like a Jeep Patriot. I would not Patriot. Jeep Renegade, and then you have the EQA. Um, that's just a little bit more, almost like the Hyundai Santa Fe. Again, hatchback looking rear. Um, I mean, let's go into it. So the EQA is the Hyundai style. I don't think they have a. No, they kind of don't go into it. Let's go to exterior. So they're saying roughly this thing gets, 486 kilometers. What that is you cut that down by one third, or I would say, divide it by three, times it by two. So close to 500. We'll just round it there. Uh, Basically like 175, 160. So you're talking 260, 320 miles. This thing roughly gets, with, you know, there's no wind, there's nothing that's hitting it. um Completely LCD. Let's see, LED. Rims are kind of looks real dumb, but I mean, I guess when it has to look a certain way. um Looks like the whole top is going to be completely glass. I don't like that matty look. We'll see what happens when this actually comes out. uh I don't like that front. That's a little bit too futuristic for me personally. I love the older cars. Personally, I do have a 30-year-old to date. 2021 makes it 30 years old. I have a Honda Civic DX. It's a 15, it's a D15, not a D16. So this is made for economy. That's my car. And then I have a 97 Subaru that I'm about to just gut and make it a battle tank, which is going to be pretty fun. Um, but going back, I digress. Uh, that just looks not like a lot of room. Looks like it has a touchpad there. If you're not used to that, it's pretty nice. I'll do a video in my later times, live when I'm out and about, playing with these cars, kind of seeing what they're all about. That's actually not bad. The only problem I have with it is if you have heavy hands, I would never allow somebody to have a drink near my center console, because I mean, you just have to think about a car like that with a touchpad, $1,000 easy. Like tons of glass. I hopefully that's not glass. Hopefully that's like a LCD LED screen. A lot able to take a little bit of a hit here and there. That is just crazy. So they're saying that these have like the highest of safety stuff like that, almost like Tesla, how it's always being updated, it's always being calibrated. You see all the buttons. Yeah, I mean, 320 miles. I mean, that's more than, what my gas vehicles can do. The only problem I have with this is I wonder how winter treats it. A big thing that people have to also know is, where are these charge boxes, and are they the same as Tesla, and are they not? That's something I don't know off rip. So That's something I would ask them to please address. Is this backwards compatible? Um, that's a complete electric car. Yeah, they're doing some crazy stuff here where it's just they're trying to go full electric, but like, you know what? Let's do it right now. And this is where I kind of tell people it's a third. So kilometers is literally you just divide it by three, times it by two, and that gets you a good rough estimate as far as kilometers to miles. Um, how many charge stations? How many charge stations in Alaska? So there's 35. Let's find out here. So there's Petersburg, and let's see, Anchorage. There's 7 of them. I'll say right now, you're not leaving Alaska driving an electric car. It's not happening. 7 in Anchorage. There's 6 in Anchorage, 1 in Eagle River, 1 in India. And just to let you know, for anybody, uh, Alaska's huge. You can look at a map and say it's small. Anchorage to Eagle River, it's about 20-minute drive there if you're following the speed limit. Same thing with J Bear. It's about 20-30 with these two added. Then you get to Girdwood. That's about, so you're talking 20 miles, 30 miles. So 20 miles Eagle River from Anchorage, 30 miles to J Bear. Girdwood, you're looking at takes roughly an hour to get there. So you're looking at 45 to 55 miles away. Chugiak is another direction, which is another 20. No, Chugiak is about 30 miles away. And Indian, Alaska, I don't even know. That just seems even further. So it's Seward. So that's about, so it's in between here and Girdwood. So that's another 30, 40. All I'm saying is that these cars aren't anywhere. Like, these charge stations are in random areas. And then the other part you have to also think about when you're charging your car is it by your job or is it by your house? And then how much do you have to pay? So South Anchorage Mall, and then Diamond Center West parking lot. So it's literally in the back, away from the public, so people can like kind of see if they can get. Then you have to pay. So I mean, it's just like you need to check where you're at, and which is nice, Looks like Liberty Access charging stations. Let's see, public chargers, and they got products where 35 in Anchorage. Let's check out Washington, 1,400. I was like, California should have more. Yep, 12,000. New York, only 2,500. So I mean, it goes to show it's you better before you get an electric car. I would say right now, make sure you can charge it not just at home, just in case something happens. Um, the other part that I see a lot of people don't think about is rush hour traffic when your car is just sitting there. Hopefully they aren't running. I know Teslas keep it pretty good. I'm used to Teslas, so Mercedes are still new. But let's get back to it. But those are the things, like, these cars are awesome and this is exceptional work to get done. But if you can't charge your car, it's utterly useless. And that's like the thing is like they're pushing all these cars. There's no way to get them charged. Like, if all these people have all these electric cars, where are you charging it? Especially people that live in apartment complexes like myself. Um, Now, is my landlord going to have to install one? What's the charge on that? what's my bill going to start being? Like, I already pay electric. What's it going to become now? What are the electric companies going to have to pay for? Where's the extra power going to come from? Are they going to have to update the electrical power boxes? And I mean, there's just a lot. And I just don't think a lot of people are like thinking about that. And that's the one point that I find crucial is our infrastructure able to handle the amount of electric cars that are getting pushed on the road? Because if we go to a different country, which I'm not comparing, I'm just letting people know, if we go to a different country, say, hey, there's no more gas cars, it is what it is, good luck. What if they just got used to cars recently? Like, there's some cultures and some areas of the world that are 20, 30 years old only with cars, where, in the United States, I've had cars since the 30s, 40s, something like that. Like, maybe even 10, 20 years behind that. But like, even in Japan and China, they had their little buggies, stuff like that. Like, there was cultures that already had cars for like 100 years now, 80 years, whatever the number is, which is a lot more substantial than somebody that just now got cars that are diesel powered, um, fuel powered, uh, and just stuff like that. Diesel fuel, hydrogen, which, I mean, some cultures don't even know that there's hydrogen cars out there. And that's the crazy part that I have on these cars. Like, I have no beef with these cars. I'm not trying to throw shade on them or like call them like useless, but these are things that makes these cars very significant or very insignificant. It's just the same. If we, let's say we were electric world from the get-go, we just made everything with wind power, solar power, water power, hydrogen, like just creating dams that generate 100% electric. And then we're like, oh, we don't have enough way to make electric powered vehicles. Oh, well, there's oil, but then we've had no mindset, we have nothing established to use oil to the degree that we might need it, but yet we already start pumping out fuel powered vehicles, diesel, basic fuel, high octane, middle octane fuel, blah, blah, blah. Those of you that don't know the gases, I'll do a video on that as well. And I will actually write that down to make sure that I do. I do have got my little sketch pad. So, fuel video, the difference and why. So, these cars look, they're a brilliant concept. They're aesthetically pleasing, I say, to the future. But as far as a car lover, like a person that enjoys, you can't play with these things. You can't change you have no, personally for myself, I have no skin in the game to mess with these cars. Like, I can probably get it wrapped, so I can do the wrap myself. I can change out, tint the windows. I can get the headlights murdered out, uh, murder it, murder out. And yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of customization with these electric cars. Like, and I have no problem with that. Like, people want cars that they just want to be able to drive, be excited to have something new, fresh, reliable. Like, as long as they're reliable, stuff like that. My wife's that way. She don't care about none of this stuff that I talk about. I talk to her about cars. Poltergeist, eyes roll back in her head. She just starts shaking. She's like, "Why? I don't care about this information." I know a lot of people don't, but when you're looking at all these cars, the EQB, which is the smaller one, uh, this one is like the Jeep Renegade, and they don't put much on this car. But like, I don't know if these chargers are. So I need to find out these chargers. Find out about these chargers if they're compatible. Or universal, I guess would be a better term, so they don't try to, when I call someone ask that question, they ain't trying to sidetrack the question, sidestep. If they are universal plugins. So otherwise it's just a whack attack, man. It's just like just getting attacked by some BS. It's like, oh, this is the future. It's like, okay, I'm with it, but like you're not even all together. I mean, it's like when you go work out, it's like, man, I can't wait to get these lifts in. But like just before you drank a beer before you went to go work out, you show up wearing just jeans, you didn't bring some like actually workout apparel instead of, you know, flat-footed shoes for like if you're going to just do some lifting, or if you brought running shoes to actually do running, like very cardio workouts, stuff like that. If you don't bring any of that, if you don't bring the right stuff for the occasion, you just wasted your time. And that's like the part that I see about these cars, is that they're so they're pumping them out so fast, but the foundation that they need to run on isn't able to keep up. And yeah, I mean, it's crazy seeing how people are so ready for the future on paper, but then when you put it in reality, they're not caught up with it. And I look at electric cars as the balance of, is your life in a in that kind of driven motion? And if it is, perfect. If it's not, I would take steps to handle electric car comparative to handling a fuel car, because electrical cars, even though they don't run on, you know say so a standard battery, which they have the whole floor is a battery. um there's not fluids, there's no um additional piping that you have to worry about going out. But we're in an age where there's not a lot of technicians to handle these types of cars. Like if this car breaks down, like if I buy an electric car, hands down, I can't do shit about it. It's out of my league. I can't handle it. As much as I could want to learn it, I could end up voiding my car's warranty, my car, or just frying a circuit, and then my whole car is effed. Comparative to with regular cars, you pop a fuse, you might burn a wire, you can replace that. These things have miles of wires running through them, to where, try to find a needle in a haystack that's on fire, that never stops being on fire. And it's I mean, that's like a, contradicting, what I'm saying is like, you just wait for the fire to pull out. That's not the thing though with these electric cars. You pop a wire in there, good luck finding it if you're even skillful. Now there's people that have done it. um who's the tech guy that does who does Tesla repairs? Who is that guy? um he's on YouTube. Let me pull him up. As you can tell, I when I'm doing stuff, I just watch this guy. So Rich Rebuilds, which he's on YouTube. I love watch. Oh, I didn't even subscribe to him. I watched so much of his stuff, but he uh, he does tons of rebuilds. He does builds on random cars. He kind of doing like a square body. He did like a river thing. He's huge about learning and understanding. He has the time for that. That's the point. He has the time. A lot of other people don't. And then that's what it is. Ooh, Tesla's updating their services. So I'm going to look that mofro up. Tesla changing services. So that's going to be interesting because that's something that people need to also pay attention. And I don't mean to go off on like side tangents, but it all pulls together onto you're about to buy an electric car. And yeah, you can say, only people that don't have money think about repairs. Um, I'm gonna tell you right now is you can make $500,000 a year all you want. When your car decides to not work anymore, Uber, taxi, Toro, hype car, or you have to then buy another car to wait for this car to get repaired. And that's fine if you want to tax write it off and stuff. Me, I'm just a very simple and minimalistic person, as I tell my wife, it's like, our house catches on fire. I only got two things I got to grab: some clothes, my computer, cell phone. It's only like a handful of things. I don't have a lot to where if it goes up in a fire, but my wife and my kids do. So most of our house that's under, insurance is for those three. I might have like $5,000 worth of stuff to save. That is it. I'm very minimal. So me buying an electric car and it dies and it can't be repaired for 2, 3, 4 weeks is nuts. But now that being said, right now with this whole pandemic that shut down borders, um, even like businesses infrastructure, even government infrastructure has been crippled, if not broken. Businesses ain't coming back. Micro America doesn't. The United States has no factory for manufacturing chips for vehicles, computers, cell phones, mics, like you see right here. Got my mic, my webcam. We don't build this here. 90%, I want to say roughly, I can probably go higher, but I'm just going to be safe and on caution. 90% of electronics ain't built here. Um, and that is where I get really scared for when these things become mass production and we still don't have factories. We don't have uh, factories for either the build of the vehicle, the electrical systems, the LCD screens, the batteries, any of that. Um, even the fiber optic cables. Well, I 90%. I don't think it's made here, and that's where I don't really trust. My personal opinion, of course, I don't trust an electric car that could be crippled if product can't come from a different country where it was first made to get here. Um, that being said, that's how it was with food. Thank goodness America produces a lot of food. So it didn't really hurt us on that stint. It did in some areas of the United States, but not all. But um, ice chests, we ran out of those here in Alaska. We ran out of, um, not like major things, but ice boxes, chest freezers, which are just giant ice box like refrigerators, but instead they're just freezers. Um, Appliances couldn't get washers, dryers, refrigerators, uh, much of it up here. TVs were stifled, um, furniture and stuff like that, to where it's not bad because those aren't needed. Like those aren't a requirement to need a additional freezer in your house. It's not a requirement to get a TV, a couch, a different washer, dryer, refrigerators, what have you. But cars aren't a necessity either. We can shout up and down at each other that they're a necessity. No, they're not. You have feet. You can figure out something else. That's even how I go about it. If my car is broke down and I can't make it to, let's say, a place with my own uh, vehicle transportation, bicycle, or I go for, or, have a crappy time having to jog there, run there. I had to do it when I was younger. My car died on me. Um, all it was sadly was a fuse, but I was so panicking for the interview back when I was early 20s, 22. um, I just ran for it. uh, Needless to say, I got the job because I showed up on time. I was sweating. I was hella embarrassed, and on top of that, uh, the fact of being on time and then just broken uh, physically, my mind just like left me knowing that I looked like a mess. Because I had my running shoes in my car. So I took off my dress shoes, held them in my hand, uh, and then I just ran uh, 2 miles, 2.2, less than 2.5 miles. Ran there, and thank goodness I was fit still at the time. I wasn't a chubby bucket. Luckily, that I used to be when I was a lot younger. Made it there, drank a lot of water, had my hands stretched over my head to make sure that I could speak well in the middle of the interview. And I showed up in there, and I sweated around my pecs area, like underneath to where the sweat kind of ran down. Sweats on my underpits, face is drenched. I look like I got in a fight. And then the first and last question that they only asked me three questions, which was, why should we hire you? What are you good at? And why do you look like that? Um, Needless to say, I surprisingly got the job. Uh, there was a lot of other candidates. There was 30 that day, and they did interviews for a week and a half straight. So five, six, seven, eight times three, 24, 240 applicants, and I made it. Had that job for about 2.5 years, and then I decided to graduate college to then pursue my own thing, which was cars and fitness. But that being said, what are you going to do when these electric cars are broken down, when these cars can't produce, um, when you can't make it to a charging station, say so? Um, the one thing with gas, though, is you can have a 5 gallon tank of fuel, make it home. Are you going to jerry rig a charger, attach it to a battery with a voltage meter to make sure it doesn't overcharge and burn anything? Like, those are the questions that I have on a lot of these. Is you have to, when you buy an electric car, you have to be 10,000% more competent on when it's charging and when it's not. um, I mean, there's other countries out there that produce so much, but I'm really wondering about this vinyl, these buttons right here, like it has AC. So that's actually going to be a liquid that's going to be running through the car. um, I'd have to say antifreeze is another one because of the heat. Overall, I think electric cars are a great addition to the world. Um, until I see some Tony Starks to where these cars can go 700 miles, I personally have I have no reason to get one. And the reason why I say 5 to 700 miles, if you can only go as far as a gas car and you're electric, I don't really see too much positive environmental impact when you have that many batteries. The tires are still going to have to be replaced. I wonder what's going to happen when this car gets in a wreck. I mean, how much can be recycled and reused, um, comparably to a car that is strictly metal, um, not filled with lithium ion batteries, and can be crunched up, shredded, and then good to go through a machine, rather than somebody's going to have to take the batteries out of this, meaning strip the whole interior and so on and so forth. So, that being said, I know it was a pretty long conversation, but I just wanted to kind of let you know about Mercedes and how they're stepping up on their, I would say, A game. They're coming out with three cars that could, actually four cars, if I'm not mistaken. One, two, three, four cars, five. They have a minivan. That's kind of cool. It reminds me of there's a Japanese van that actually kind of looks like that, but this has a longer nose for I don't know why and what reason. But that being said, so this has 5 cars that would actually compete with Tesla's manufacturing, if I'm not mistaken. Tesla cars. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and they made solar roofs. Yep. So now you can actually order those. Interesting. Look at more of that. That's something that I would say needs to be added to car production for transportation purposes. So, everybody, this is Rep to Rev podcast. Thank you very much for your time. You guys have a good day. Peace.